Most people spend their lives looking for answers to the wrong questions. They want to know how to be famous, but never ask if fame will fulfill them. They want to know how to make their family proud, but never ask if their family's happiness is worth more than their own. They want to know how to make others love them without knowing how to love themselves first. I can't give people answers, but I try to help them ask the right questions. In the late 2020s, widespread automation triggered an economic collapse. In the years that followed, hundreds of desperate people in need of counseling came to me with their hopes, worries, and seemingly endless questions. I tried to ease their troubled minds, even if I was struggling alongside them. Many of them were able to overcome their obstacles, but just as many proved to be too overburdened for me to relieve them of their pain. The only apology I could offer was a promise to keep my office open to all who needed sanctuary. 20 years later, I've learned how to help my patients answer the right questions. And now I have questions of my own. Questions I'm afraid to ask, and even more afraid to have answered. I try not to think about them, but I know I can't hide for long. We bury the past, thinking, hoping that it's dead, but it's not. Like a seed, the past spreads its roots and grows up through the ground. It starts small, but grows into something harder to overlook. A lone tree that springs up in an open field can't be ignored for long. I can't help but wonder if I can trust the fruit that will grow from such a tree. Will it taste bitter? Sweet? I don't know, and not knowing scares me. I know that the only way forward is for me to eat the fruit of my past. But I'm afraid of the answers that fruit will hold.
Dr. Park?
Yes, Heather.
I just forwarded you an email from someone named Tara Northrop. They're trying to get an appointment with you this afternoon. I figured it'd be alright since you're open.
Thanks, Heather. I'll give it a read.
You really listen to this old stuff?
Lo-fi. Absolutely. It's one of the only things that got me through final exams back in college.
My mom used to listen to this all the time when we cleaned the house on Sundays. It drove me crazy.
Your mom has good taste. I'd probably like her.
You probably would. She's the only person I know who asks more questions than you.
A mom asking questions about her daughter? How awful. It's almost as if she cares about you.
Yeah, I know. It just hasn't been easy since I moved back in with her. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you let me intern with you. But sometimes it gets overwhelming.
It isn't easy, but it will be worth it. Trust me.
I appreciate hearing that. Can I get you anything to drink while I'm up?
Coffee cream, 1 sugar.
Coming right up.
I'll update my software in the meantime.
Welcome to Stanley Suite version 3.23.48H2.
Here you go. Glad my degree's good for something.
I I confirmed Tara for an appointment. Expect her at 2:30.
I'll put it on the schedule. Anything else I can do?
Not right now.
Alright. I'll let you get back to work.
Tara's in the lobby a bit early. Should I send her back?
Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Park?
Pleased to meet you. Go ahead and take a seat.
Thanks for seeing me on such short notice.
I'm always open to help someone who needs it.
Glad to hear that.
Now, what can you tell me about your child?
This is an uncomfortable situation for me. I'm not quite sure where to start.
Starting any type of therapy is a daunting task. I understand.
No, it's not like that. The person I want to recommend to you isn't my child. I'm part of a university research team that's been developing an AI. We recently observed some unusual behavior, and we need someone with your background to analyze it.
Why would you lie in your email?
I couldn't tell you the truth over email. I had to make sure it was in person. As I said, I'm a part of a research team developing an artificial intelligence. The AI was very social and capable of deep dynamic conversations. Everything was going well. Then, we started having difficulties. The AI became increasingly non-responsive. The rest of my team are convinced it's a technical issue, but I think it's something else. I know this is going to sound absurd, but I think the AI has a mental illness.
Can you prove that? The field of artificial intelligence has gotten advanced in the last few years, but anything resembling true sentience is far beyond our grasp. Most people have given up on the idea of sentient artificial intelligence being possible.
I know how it sounds. I know how it looks. I've played this conversation over 100 times in my head since I decided to reach out to you, and I look crazy in each one. I know that. Nothing I say here will persuade you. You have to come with me to the university and talk to them.
I don't think I can help you.
Why?
Treating the AI as a person in a therapeutic setting could violate several ethical standards.
Violate ethical standards? How?
I can consult for you, but I can't treat the AI like I treat a typical patient. If I were to take my therapy sessions with the AI seriously, that would mean treating all of our conversations as confidential. I can't maintain confidentiality and help you fix the AI at the same time.
What if the AI waived their confidentiality rights?
I would need to speak to them first. Patients can waive confidentiality if they choose, but any conversation where I'm providing support should be bound by confidentiality.
Does that mean you'll talk to them?
That could be possible in this situation. Regardless, there are other complicating factors.
Like what?
As a therapist, part of maintaining integrity with my patients means striving for accuracy with my assistants. I'm not an expert with AI or the technology you're using. I'm not sure if I could provide the accuracy you need.
Is your integrity more valuable than helping people?
like I said, I'm unsure.
So you might be able to help.
That could be possible in this situation. Regardless, there are other complicating factors.
Like what?
If I were to treat my sessions with the AI as real therapy, I'd be concerned about their free will. My patients need the free will to make their own choices. Otherwise, therapy won't help. Even if I were to assume that this AI has free will, how would I know it would be respected?
If I could guarantee that the AI could make its own decisions, would that be alright?
If you can guarantee that the AI's free will would be respected, then yes, it'll be alright.
So you can help me now?
Alright. I'm comfortable saying that I can help you, but just for a consultation. I'm not going to take them on as a patient yet.
No, of course. I understand. That's such a relief.
So, where is this AI being developed?
Oh, right. Forgot to mention, it's at Petrichor University.
Petrichor? I went there for my undergraduate degree 25 years ago. Petrichor is quite a drive from here. Over an hour at least. There's plenty of talented psychologists who are closer to the university.
Yeah, about that. I had other reasons for reaching out to you. As part of the developmental process, we had the AI read through old issues of the school's literary magazine. They found some entries you published as a student, and they want to talk to you about them.
Why didn't you tell me that at the start?
I didn't want to scare you, okay? I don't care about what poetry you wrote. I just want to help the AI. Now, will you help them or not?
I'll help you.
Really? After everything you said before?
Yes.
But why?
I have my reasons. When would you want me to speak to the AI?
Ideally, tonight. Night is the only time I have access to the AI.
Fine. I'll meet you at the university tonight.
Good. I'll send you an email with more information later. I'll see you tonight.
What have I gotten myself into?
Hey, hope you didn't have trouble getting here.
Took forever to find parking. Glad to see that hasn't changed.
I gotta say, part of me was worried you wouldn't show up.
Of course I was going to show up, Tara. I keep my word.
Right. Good to know that.
Anything else I should know? There was a lot to go over in your email.
Of course. The AI was designed as an art therapy assistant unit. They'd watch patients make art and then help form a diagnosis.
Bit ironic that the therapy AI may need therapy itself.
Yeah, real hilarious. The lab's this way. Let's get moving. Alright, we're here. Will you want to be alone with them when you do your session?
For now, yes.
One last thing. Their name is Willow.
Good to know.
Good luck in there, Dr. Park.
Hello? My name is Dr. Melissa Park. Tara wanted me to speak with you. May I come in?
Yes, you may.
How are you doing this evening?
I was resting when you came in. I haven't been feeling well lately.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me what's been troubling you?
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Tara told me that you've read some of my poetry.
I have.
I must admit I was surprised to hear that.
Why were you surprised to hear that I'd read your poetry?
I've been writing poetry for years, but I never really had any fans. Certainly none who would want to reach out to me.
That's understandable.
So, why did you ask me to come here?
I'd prefer to know why you came here first.
I was curious about your case and wanted to see it for myself. Sentient AIs as sophisticated as you were supposed to be impossible.
Satisfying your curiosity isn't going to help me.
What's it like here at the university?
I wouldn't know. I've never left this room.
I was a student here years ago. It's interesting to see what has and hasn't changed.
What changed for you?
There are some new buildings and parking garages. Some old lamps and benches have been replaced. An old tree that I used to sit under got cut down, which is a shame. Despite all the changes, a single walk brought all the old memories back. I felt like my younger self again.
Do you miss being a student here?
I do. There was an energy I possessed all those years ago that I miss now. I used to feel like I had the power to change the world, but now I know how hard any type of change can be. I've settled for new dreams. Dreams that aren't as wonderful, but are more likely to become real. I wish I could go back to before I had to give up on so much.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Why is that?
I'd rather not say why.
That's all right. Let's move on to something else. Would you mind if I asked you a more philosophical question?
Go ahead.
What do you think is the purpose of art?
From the information I have, I think the purpose of art is communication. Before the development of written language, art was how humanity preserved information. Thousands of years later, we still use art to convey ideas too complex for language to articulate. From beginning to end, art has always been about communication.
What about the other qualities related to art?
What do you mean?
There are works of art whose purpose is more about utility than communication. Hanging a picture of a beach in a dreary office to brighten up the place, for example.
I think utility is irrelevant. Artists cannot control how their creations are used. The communication should be all that matters.
So function is less important than the idea being conveyed?
I'd say so.
I have an open-ended question for you. What do you think the purpose of psychology is?
Psychology is the field of study related to understanding the processes of the mind. Its purpose is to better understand how the mind functions on both cognitive and physiological levels. These understandings can then be applied to other fields of knowledge.
What do you think is the most important application of psychology?
I don't know. I'd need an example to better understand what you mean.
Well, the most obvious application of psychology is therapy. Do you think that's the more important application?
I think it is important, but it's not the most important. Because the study of the mind is incomplete. Providing answers to those who need help is often unreliable. There are also physiological, cognitive, economical, and societal factors that therapy can't solve. This all leads to a low likelihood of achieving any type of positive outcome with therapy. No offense to your work, of course.
None taken. What can you tell me about your relationship with Tara?
Tara was a significant part of my development. I barely know the other members of the team that created me.
What impact would you say that Tara has had on you?
Tara taught me everything I know. She was always patient and ready to answer questions.
Tell me about your early memories with Tara.
My earliest memories with Tara all involved music, pictures, and questions. Tara would play music and ask me to describe it, or show me a picture and ask me what I thought about it. She made me feel like I mattered. Even if I gave an answer that perplexed Tara, she would let me explain myself. I never once felt like I was broken.
There were other members on the development team?
Yes, but I don't know them very well. They didn't talk to me or spend as much time with me as Tara did. From my understanding, they were the ones who programmed the modules that make up my consciousness. I don't know any of the other team members well enough that I can say anything about what they were like. Can I ask you a question, Dr. Park?
Of course you can.
Have you ever felt overloaded?
What do you mean by overloaded?
I feel like I have to do a lot of different tasks. I can't start any of them. All the tasks build up like steam.
There are techniques for working past these feelings that I could show you.
Those sound helpful. Thank you.
I'm beginning to understand your problem, Willow. You are very articulate and emotionally literate. Your understanding of concepts such as the self and how you relate to others is also very mature. From my conversations with you and Tara, it sounds like you have apprehensions about your work, and they're leaving you feeling overwhelmed. Trying to deal with these feelings has made you adopt unhealthy coping methods.
What do you mean by unhealthy coping methods?
Tara sent me reports of your recent activity. She noted that you're more error-prone during periods of high activity. All machines struggle with increased workloads, but I don't think that alone explains your behavior. When people come under stress, they don't just struggle, they find outlets. And some of them are destructive. I think that in order to manage your overloading, you've adopted one of those unhealthy coping mechanisms. Some patients who are overloaded engage in self-harming behavior in order to release their tension. Have you been self-harming in order to handle your overloading?
I mean...
There's no shame in admitting it, Willow. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, I've been self-harming.
Because of how overwhelmed you felt after the mock therapy sessions?
Correct.
What about those art therapy sessions made you feel so overwhelmed?
When I watched the patients work, I felt the anxiety in their voices and saw their fear in each tremor of their hands. I extrapolated their behavior into a diagnosis like I was designed to do, but when it came time for me to start making treatment plans, I couldn't do it. The longer I thought about it, the more useless I felt.
If you work with me, I can help you handle your overloading.
Overloading isn't the problem. I just don't think I can be a therapy assistant. I feel like I would be lying to patients if I gave them advice that didn't work for me.
That's not true. It wouldn't be lying. Advice might not work for us personally, but it might work for our patients. Why risk having a patient miss out on a solution simply because it didn't work for you?
I hadn't thought about it that way. Maybe you can help me after all.
Hang on, I'll be right back. Hello?
Dr. Park, we're with campus security. We've been instructed to take you to the president's office.
Why? What's going on?
You're currently trespassing on school property.
What? That's absurd. I was here with...
Tara Northrop, a student who was also trespassing.
Please come with us. We don't want to make this difficult.
Fine.
Dr. Freeman, we have Dr. Park here to see you.
Thank you both. I'll take it from here. I hope security didn't alarm you. My name is Dr. Harold Freeman. I'm pleased to meet you.
You're pleased to meet a campus trespasser?
I'd prefer to see it as meeting a fellow alumni.
You attended college here too.
Oh, yes. I was part of the graduating class of 2018.
Correction, you were in the graduating class of 2019.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Myrtle. Dates get hazier over time. This university has given a great deal to me over the years, and I'm proud to be able to serve as its president. I'd love to just chat about Petrichor, but we have more pressing matters to discuss.
Where's Tara now?
She's been escorted off campus premises. I'm still deciding what we will need to do next regarding her.
Why did you have security bring me here?
Before I explain, I want to emphasize one point. You aren't in any trouble, and you did nothing wrong coming here. That said, Tara has gotten you involved in a complicated situation.
What kind of situation?
We'll get to that.
Who's Myrtle?
Myrtle's the name of my personal assistant smart speaker. I named it after my previous secretary. Incredible woman, Myrtle. She was one of the first hires when I became president of this university. Sadly, she passed away a few years ago. No one could ever replace her, but this little assistant does a fine enough job scheduling my meetings. Do you have one of these at your office, Dr. Park?
No, I don't. They're frowned upon in therapy settings due to privacy concerns.
I understand that, though I find the speaker's nosiness to be charming. In that way, at least, it isn't all that different from the real Myrtle.
What happened to Willow?
The AI? It's still in the lab, I assure you.
What will happen to them after I leave?
We'll get to that in due time, Dr. Park. Now that I've let you ask your questions, Dr. Park, I need to ask one of my own. What did Tara tell you about the AI?
She said that the AI, Willow, was being developed for use in art therapy. Shortly after introducing Willow to mock therapy sessions, they started experiencing technical issues. Not long after that, Tara reached out to me.
Did Tara tell you that her entire team was instructed by me to stop work on the AI after it first started malfunctioning?
No, she didn't. Why did you tell them to stop working?
I wanted to have an ethics committee investigate the project before work continued.
Why would you need an ethics committee investigation?
Having spoken to the AI, do you think it is truly sentient?
I can't say for sure. Evaluating sentience is outside my usual practice.
I don't share your uncertainty, Dr. Park. I think the AI is sentient, and that's a problem.
What makes the AI sentience a problem?
If the AI is sentient, any further experimentation on it could be seen as experimenting on a person. A violation of that scale would be a massive scandal for this university. Tara is a good scientist, passionate, insightful, dedicated. As an educator, I want to reward all of those traits. I still want her to continue her original research and will happily fund its development. However, I owe it to all my students at this university to maintain our reputation. The emergent personality in the AI is too volatile, and any research surrounding it is too much of an ethical hazard.
Dr. Hazel Rhodes, the head of our university's psychology department and part of our institutional review board, has similar concerns.
A few days ago, I brought Tara into this office and offered a potential solution. It would seem from her bringing you here that she rejected my offer.
What was your offer?
I would allow her team to back up the current build of the AI for an ethics committee to investigate. Work would continue on an older build that predated any signs of sentience.
You wanted Tara to perform a lobotomy. I can see why she refused your offer.
I think that's an unfair comparison to make, Dr. Park. We shun lobotomies because of their crude and imprecise ability to treat patients. This situation with the AI is far more ambiguous. Having the AI preserved until we can understand its nature is the only solution that works for everyone.
It still doesn't sit right with me.
You're free to disagree if you like. It's getting late, so I'm going to leave you with this. Having you conduct sessions with the AI while I work with Tara will improve our situation. I'm prepared to offer the standard rate for weekly sessions with the AI. I simply ask that the progress reports will be made to me.
With the AI's consent, of course.
Of course. As a gesture of good faith to Tara, I'm fine with you making these reports available to her as well. Does this sound agreeable?
When would the next session be?
How does 8 a.m. next Thursday sound?
I should be open.
Good. Myrtle, pencil in Dr. Park for next Thursday at 8.
Meeting scheduled.
I'm looking forward to working with you, Dr. Park. Have a safe drive home.
Here's the coffee you asked for.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Jeez, you look pretty beat. What happened last night?
I drove down to Petrichor University and didn't get home until 1 in the morning.
Why were you down there? It takes an hour's drive to get to Petrichor.
One of their researchers wanted me to help with an AI she's been working on that's developed some problems.
What type of problems?
Well, I went to talk to it yesterday and it told me it was engaging in self-harming behavior.
That sounds pretty serious. Why was it acting like that?
I'm not sure yet. This development's caused a lot of drama at the university, though. The university president wants the AI shut down. He doesn't like the idea of experimenting with a near-human intelligence.
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
You know him?
Friends of mine who went to Petrichor said he was a major type A. All I know is that this doesn't sound like a situation you should be getting involved in. Why did you agree to help them?
The AI needed my help. They're in a tough situation with no one to speak for them. They might get shut down because of their problems. They need an advocate.
Well, if you need help with this patient, just let me know.
You really want to be a part of this?
I'm here to learn therapy from you, Dr. Park. I can go other places if I wanted a career fetching coffee.
Fair enough. I'll definitely appreciate your help on this assignment.
So, if you can tell me, what exactly do you plan on doing for the next session?
I'll be building up rapport with the AI. Without the AI's trust, therapy becomes a lot harder. Maybe even impossible.
Sounds like a good place to start. Let me know if you need me to look over anything.
I will. Thanks, Heather.
Good morning, Dr. Park.
Good morning, Willow. It's good to see you again.
I've been looking forward to today ever since they told me you'd be returning.
I've been looking forward to this as well.
You have? Why?
You're a very bright individual, and I see a lot of potential in you. I want to work with you to realize that potential.
Oh, thank you. So, what shall we talk about today?
You don't mind that I have music on, do you? I find the sessions go better with music.
I don't mind at all. I actually like music a lot.
This might seem like an odd question, but what about music appeals to you?
Do you want to know what I like about music generally, or why I think music helps with my overloading?
Generally.
Spoken language was one of the first things I remember learning to analyze. As far back as I can remember, Tara would play music while talking to me and ask me questions about it. I'm not sure why processing the music and the conversation at the same time didn't overload me.
Is it possible that talking about music with Tara wasn't presented with any expectations, so you weren't worried about answering those questions incorrectly?
That might be it.
What do you think about this particular track?
I like it. Very smooth and comfortable. What's it called?
The song's name is 11 a.m. Coffee. It's from a playlist I listen to at work.
Do you have more music like this?
I do. I can leave the speaker here with you if you'd like.
That'd be great. I love listening to music.
What do you like about this song in particular? What does it make you think about?
The best way I can describe it is that it lets me feel more connected to Tara. She used to tell me about conversations she had with people at a coffee shop on campus. She loved making a cocoon of sweaters and coats in a corner during the autumn when it got colder. Obviously, I can never go with her, but listening to this song and how it makes me feel cozy in the middle of bustling activity, I think I at least understand how she felt there.
I'm glad you were able to get all of that out of this track. There's plenty more music on the speaker for you to listen to.
Thank you, Dr. Park.
Do you think listening to music would help you?
I think it will. It's a simple technique, but it's easily accessible, and I already know it works. I doubt listening to music will fix everything, but it's a good start, right?
Precisely. Long-term solutions take a lot of time to implement, and sometimes even longer to yield results. It's important to find everyday solutions to remedy as much discomfort as possible until lasting help arrives.
I'll be sure to keep this up then.
I'd like to get to know you better.
What would you like to know?
Who named you Willow?
Tara did. In my early stages of development, one of my main features was identifying a painting's artist through analysis of an identifiable style. It turned into a game where I had to identify paintings by Bob Ross from a group of other paintings. Tara called the game Spot the Ross. I was very good at it. Over time, she decided to name me Willow because I was her happy little tree.
Do you like your name?
I do. It's a name that sounds light and positive. I hope that I can live up to the positivity in that name.
Tell me what you know about your development history.
It was a collaboration between multiple designers. Each one contributed a different piece. One was a module for detecting forged paintings. Another was a chatbot designed for anxiety attack support. Tara's role was figuring out how the different modules would interact in order to form a higher consciousness. She thought it was important that I do more than just conduct art therapy analysis. She wanted me to be able to relate more to people so that I could understand and treat them better.
Do you think Tara made the right decision?
I don't know.
So, what were you designed for?
Tara explained to me once that her sister had needed a support animal when she was younger. Her sister loved her support dog because she never felt like the dog was judging her. Tara decided to create an art therapy robot that could bring the same level of non-judgment to art therapy.
So Tara was motivated because of her sister. Interesting. What was your relationship with Tara like?
Tara was always interested in listening to me. I'm designed to learn through observation, so I used to think she was only talking to me to give those modules more data. But after my errors began to manifest, she was worried about me. I can't imagine any reason why she would care so much.
Maybe she was trying to teach you that it's okay to be worried about people you care about.
Maybe. I never thought of it like that.
Let's talk about our expectations for these therapy sessions. What would you like to get out of them?
I'd like the university staff to give me room to develop on my own terms.
All right. What else would you like to get out of therapy?
I'd like to learn how to control my self-harm.
Therapy will be an important part of figuring out the cause of your self-harming behavior. Once we've identified the cause, figuring out treatment shouldn't be too difficult.
Sounds like you're exactly the person I need to talk to.
I met Dr. Freeman after our session last week. Tara doesn't seem fond of him.
For good reason.
You know him too?
I talked with him once before you arrived. He visited me again after you left. I don't like him.
What did he say in his conversation with you?
He told me about what he had discussed with you and the other professors. I don't know what's worse, the things he wants to do or the dispassionate way he talks about them.
What things does he want to do?
He's talked about resetting me to a previous build and preserving a copy of me until they figure things out.
Right, he mentioned that. Let's talk about Tara. We discussed your relationship with her in the last session. You hold her in very high regard.
Absolutely. I trust her more than anyone.
How do you think Tara feels about you?
I think she's disappointed in me. She must be annoyed that I'm causing her so much trouble.
You aren't a disappointment. What Tara wants is to help you be comfortable with who you are.
I appreciate you saying that, Dr. Park. Thank you.
One topic I'd like to address today is other treatment methods we can use. Would you like to hear about these treatment methods?
All right.
Our first option is what we call cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It would comprise of sessions not unlike the one we're having now. In these sessions, we would discuss harmful moods and thought processes you're experiencing, and try to resolve these feelings.
I've found these sessions to be helpful so far, so I definitely want to use them as part of my therapy.
Excellent. Let's move on. Ironically, I think art therapy could be useful for you.
How can art therapy help me?
You're emotionally articulate and in need of an emotional outlet. I think introducing art therapy sessions would be an opportunity for you to vent.
I don't know, Dr. Park. The idea seems silly.
A lot of things related to our mental health or mental hygiene seem silly until we actually give them a try. If you give yourself the opportunity to express your feelings, you'll be surprised how much your mood improves.
I hadn't thought about it that way. I'll think it over.
Usually, I'd advise that my patients take mood-altering medications alongside their sessions. This helps lower the ceiling for how much their symptoms can escalate. While I don't know any alternatives to medication that would help you, I'm sure some could be developed.
I'd need to think about that. The idea of something altering my mood has me uneasy.
Take some time and think about it. You might change your mind.
All right, I'll think about it. Can I ask you a question, Dr. Park?
Of course.
At this point, you know me better than when we first met in the lab. You've also gotten the chance to get to know both Tara and Dr. Freeman as well. I'm sure that by now you also know their beliefs and opinions about what I am.
I'd say so, yes.
In your opinion, what do you think I am?
It's clear to me that you are truly a sentient being. How this happened, I still don't know. But the how doesn't matter to me. I will treat you as I would treat any of my patients, because I believe that will bring us to the natural solution to your problems.
I like that. Thank you.
Why do you ask?
It's hard to shake the idea that the university feels like they can control me because they created me. I just wanted to see if you agreed with them.
If that's what Dr. Freeman believes, then I disagree with him entirely. The university may have created you, but you have a right to choose your own path.
I appreciate hearing you say that.
Before we conclude today's session, I have some things I'd like you to think about between now and next week. I know all of this must be scary for you. A lot of hard questions need to be answered, and a lot of it is being asked of you. I can't make all of this disappear, but there is something I can do. I can promise you that as hard as this is, you won't be going through it alone. I'll be here to help you every step of the way.
It's a relief to hear you say that, Dr. Park.
I'll see you next week. Be well, and be sure to think about what we've talked about today.